You must take into account the business, because at the end, you don't build or use tech for tech. Customers who are shopping both offline and online are spending 27% more. And in terms of customer, we are currently serving about 80 million customers every year.
And I saw you mention in another interview something about data supermarket.
Yeah.
What is that?
So we are making this data accessible to everyone. That's also one reason why we went to the cloud, because we need to have some technical foundation for which manipulating such amount of data is not a topic. Our point of view about innovation is we want to be able to analyze every innovation. Regarding generative AI, we've been working on that, I would say, from the early stages.
How do you do to manage the cost of having third parties and in-house tech?
First reason is it a commodity software or is it something for which we can have a difference on our competitors? So point is how we leverage tech to improve Carrefour business, which is providing a fantastic customer experience. And that's something which is for me the most motivating.
Here is Paula Macadi, and this is the first episode of my show. Welcome to OFFBounds. Olivier Gibert is the Global CTO of Carrefour, one of the largest grocers in the world, with headquarters in France and direct presence in more than 8 countries of different sizes and culture. They have thousands of stores, more than 300,000 employees, and are always headlining news with new investments in technology and innovation. Olivier started his career in consulting and joined Carrefour because he likes challenges, and we all know retail has lots of them. Olivier and Carrefour team hosted me in their headquarters in Massy, which is around 30 minutes from Paris, with the warmest welcome, and we had a conversation covering career, innovation, challenges, and opportunities. And this episode was only possible thanks to VTEX. VTEX is the backbone of composable commerce, serving clients in 38 countries and considered by Gartner the #1 unified commerce platform in the world. But before we dive into meeting one of the most impressive leaders in commerce, I would like to kindly ask you to subscribe to the show, either if you're watching on YouTube or any podcast provider. Your support means the world to me. And I promise I'll work hard to always bring you the best content. Here's my conversation with Olivier.
Back in the day, when you talk about tech, you're talking about, especially in companies that are non-tech, you're talking about that team that just fixed stuff.
Right.
I don't think it played a huge role in strategy and building a business around that. And I think not only in retail, but in several companies, business has taken all the business decisions, really. Like tech is present there. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I think it depends on at which level you are working. When I was working within the French IT teams, I was a lead architect, so I was helping the teams to design and build software. So yes, sometimes it was kind of hardcore tech, which low-level technology we want to implement and for which. But the more you step up and you say, okay, how in terms of strategy, how do you envision the tech strategy? You must take into account the business, because at the end you don't build or use tech for tech. You can say, hey, look, I coded this thing, I'm the only one to be able to code it, but that doesn't bring value. The point is how we leverage tech to improve Carrefour business, which is providing a fantastic customer experience. And that's something which is for me the most motivating. When we rebuild the Carrefour.fr website, the challenge was to, let's say, merge 3 websites into a single one to provide a fantastic experience in terms of products which were displayed, having a search engine which was very relevant, etc. And that's the main point. At the end, when the customer is happy with what we did, and it can be also an internal customer. It's not only our customers who are shopping in the stores or in e-commerce, but that's what is bringing me the most satisfaction.
And you joined Carrefour in 2014. That's when you were merging the websites that you said. And then in 2020, you moved to the global team, which was hardcore time
Yeah.
to be in a global team. I think you had a global perspective of what was coming.
Yeah, a global perspective of the nightmare which came suddenly. But it was also an interesting period because, first you say, okay, lockdown, everyone at home. So first topic is, wow, how can everyone work remotely? Do we have enough VPN? The basic stuff, okay, we're not speaking about fantastic. Do we have VPN technology for all the employees who are working at home? Then e-commerce, And on e-commerce, effectively, when we speak about scaling systems, then you have a good, let's say, real scale test, which was, it depended, in fact, for some countries, it was quite okay. I remember in France, just after French president announced lockdown, so traffic was multiplied by 5. So the French website, I think, was out of order for 2 hours. And then as it was already cloud-based, we managed to restart it. And in other countries where systems were, let's say, not so scalable, we had issues for several months. So we had to, I would say, to mix 2 different approaches, having some tactical solution. For instance, we found what we call the virtual waiting room. So you say you came to a website and say, hey, Paola, your number, it's not the perfect one, but you can have 2 options. Either you have the famous error 500 and they say, oh, what's this experience? Or you can have the not so bad, but it's okay, you're in the line. You're maybe the number, I don't know, 2,504. And you have to wait, and then you know, okay, how much do I have to wait? So this kind of solution we found, and we deployed in almost all countries in, I would say, 2 weeks. And then we work on a more, let's say, long-term evolution. For instance, in Italy, we completely re-platformed the solution and migrated to the SaaS solution end of 2020 to definitely get rid of the problem.
And I also imagine that you had, I don't know, a lot of people that never shopped grocery online now learned how to shop. So we kind of have the consumer behavior change back then too. Yeah.
And I think it, we increased radically our number of customers, of new customers. So, and the challenge at the end was, okay, how can we keep them? Because, okay, they will come back in our stores, but we want also to have them as I would say, as we say internally, as mixers, online and offline customers. So that was also a challenge for us to ensure, okay, they came not because they were forced to do it, but at the end they enjoyed the experience, and how can we manage that they continue to be online shoppers? Yeah.
You just said that you manage different countries, right? And I imagine like that at that time it was very difficult. But how do you manage? Usually, 8 countries might be very challenging with mixed cultures. Do you have a formula? How?
I would say that I don't have the magic recipe. As you say, we are operating directly in 8 countries with very different size and culture. So we have France is the biggest country, then Brazil, then Spain, and then we have several other countries which have the same size but a bit smaller. So the approach can be the same. I remember when I came to the group, my French colleagues were saying, hey, why don't you deploy what we call One Carrefour, so the Carrefour.fr website in for instance, in Argentina? And I was telling them, hey guys, look at how many people you are in Argentina for this kind of stuff. There are potentially 2 people. So you have to combine the size difference, also culture, also the business can be different. I remember, for instance, in France, for last mile delivery, we have software to optimize how we fill the truck and how we ensure that the truck is fully loaded before starting delivering the orders. And when I was talking with my colleague from Brazil, they told me, in Sao Paulo, there are too many traffic jams, so we use motorbikes. So there is no topic about how we optimize the loading of the truck. So this is, I think, a good example of you have to take into account that, okay, we are doing retail in all geographies, but there are some slight differences which are sometimes changing radically the technology approach.
Yeah, you mentioned traffic, which I know very well. But then I think we have availability of labor, infrastructure, many things that might...
And sometimes, for instance, if you want to automate things because you don't have enough workforce in some other countries, it's not a topic. So you don't need to automate. Okay, basically, you say, okay, I have plenty of people who are able to work for me, and it's a good way of doing it. So tech is not always the answer. Yeah.
Right after the pandemic, I think I saw that you put together this Carrefour Digital Retail 2026, which is something that says that Carrefour is going to be data-centric and digital-first retailer.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So data-centric, how can I sum it up easily? I would say we have tons of systems which are generating data, and the idea is to be able to leverage all this data the best way possible. So the approach we have is, in each country, we bring all this data into a data lake where we can analyze, extract, aggregate this data to get insights on how we could improve our way of doing business. So it can be, getting KPIs on the supply chain, having a better view on what customers are buying. So, and being data-centric is basically each system generating data brings its data to let's say, a common layer where we can leverage it and we use it for any kind of use cases. And digital first is when I joined Carrefour, we weren't in that approach of saying, okay, there was the online business and the offline business. And it was, at that time, it was still too siloed. And so the idea also is to see how can we leverage technology to bridge both worlds. So for instance, in a mobile app, not only bring an e-commerce experience, but also improve the experience in the store. I don't know, for instance, with price checking features or scan and go, or being able to have your coupons, or being able, for instance, in Spain, we are using QR codes to, when you go to the POS, you display the QR code, you are able in a single, let's say, operation to pay, to provide your coupons and to authentify yourself as a loyalty customer, so it will ease the customer life. So, and that's also the approach. So digital first is clearly how we can bring technology to ease employee and customer experience.
You're creating customer that is omni-channel, or it's already there? You're like educating the customers that they have.
I think we already have customers, and what we see is customers who are shopping both offline and online are spending, I think it's 27% more than fully online or fully offline customers. So, and for them, it's also a way of improving their experience, because sometimes you want to go in the store to see the product before buying. For other stuff, you know what you want to buy, and potentially having an app where you can buy easily is the best option.
And I saw you mention in another interview something about data supermarket.
Yeah.
What is that?
Data supermarket. Basically, it's a supermarket. It's not a real one, okay, but it's a.
You walk in and you put your metaverse.
Could be. But
okay.
So far, the idea is, in a supermarket, you have aisles, shelves with products, okay. In the data supermarket, the product is data, and you have different aisles, okay. So you can say, okay, I want data about customers. So you have dedicated aisles where you have the data from related to customer. You can have data about supply chain, about finance, about HR, about whatever. And the idea of the data supermarket was to say, okay, we have tons of data. We need to make it accessible to everyone in the company who needs it for making analysis, understanding its processes, etc. And so to do it, we need to have a common language across all the countries where we operate, because we want it to be global at the end. We started, currently we are working on the French scope, but the idea is then we will bring a system for everyone on which you can say, okay, I'm looking for data about merchandise. What are, I don't know, about assortment, what are the different assortments in different stores, and you can have, with this unified language, a view on this data which will be accessible for everyone. You see, so everyone who is, let's say, entitled to have access to this data in the future will be able to say, okay, I need to get this data to analyze it, to make some report, I don't know. And so we are making this data accessible to everyone. So it's kind of a system to open the hood. So you don't need, the idea is not to avoid having some tech people saying, okay, I will do some SQL queries, okay, some tech stuff to explain me what you want, and then I will translate it into some tech languages. So no, the idea is to say, you will be autonomous to extract the data you need for your own purpose.
So you are, I would say, democratizing data access to every employee.
Exactly.
How does it help the company? How does it help providing a better customer experience?
It's helping you because you can, let's say, better understand what's happening. You have a fine-grained data, so you're able to do some more precise analysis. And also on a local scope and also on a global one. For instance, as we were saying, we are operating in 8 different countries, which have been for quite a long time totally autonomous in terms of technology and systems. So we are having a global view is already a challenge. So this data supermarket is enabling us to have this unified view, and is also allowing us to say, okay, how can I, let's say, see, for instance, how my supply chain is performing in each country. Okay, do I see differences? Oh, okay, in this country, this KPI is better than in another country. What is the reason? So I think it's helping us getting more insights and making better decisions, and let's say being able to faster iterate in terms of, okay, this is not good. We analyze, we challenge, we modify the processes, and then we can measure again.
I was thinking of the manager, the store manager that has the data, the complete data. Does he have the ability to take any decision that makes sense looking at other stores' data or?
For instance, in the store, we have an application which is called Cockpit 360, which is providing, let's say, a 360 view to the store manager about everything what is happening in the store, from I would say turnover, workforce on the floor, etc., etc. So, and then the idea is to be able for him to have a view of what's happening. I don't know if he's able to see what's happening in another store, but for sure there are regional directors who have this view. Okay, so the regional director who is in charge of several stores can have this view and say, okay, what's happening in my different stores with the same, let's say, reporting. Okay, it's not okay. This store, we have this detail. In this other one, we have other information, but not at the same detail level. So, and that was something, for instance, which was not so tech-wise. It wasn't fantastic. We built some dashboard. I think the challenge was more to get the data, accurate one, exhaustive, fresh data. But when we brought this to the store manager, everyone was very happy to get it and to be autonomous again, not having to ask some people to say, okay, they have it in their mobile. Wait for someone in
the headquarters to give you the numbers so you can make a decision.
Exactly.
And have the time zone.
Exactly.
How much data Carrefour produces?
It's a lot. The metric I have in mind is so far, in the cloud, we have more than 43 petabytes of data. I think in terms of transaction, it's 10 billion transactions. So it's definitely huge. And in terms of customer, we are currently serving about 80 million customers every year. So definitely that's also one reason why we went to the cloud, because we need to have some technical foundation for which manipulating such amount of data is not a topic.
So you're moving most things to the cloud, so you can be more agile with your data.
We have a plan to migrate 100% of our cloud-compatible application to the cloud by end of 2026. We started 3 years ago, and so far we are at 70. I think we will end this year at 72%, which is we are on track so far. We migrated, I think, 2,200 applications on a total of 3,100. So there are still some work to be done, but and the reason is with the cloud we have more, let's say, power. Okay, we are able to scale system when we need more computing capabilities. It's more easier instead of I'm buying a new server, you have to wait 8 weeks, etc. It's more managed. Okay, within the cloud you have APIs for everything. You have a control of everything. You have a full view of what's happening. Security-wise, it's also way better to understand what's happening and to detect any issues. The cloud provider are always bringing new services, so which we are leveraging when it makes sense. For instance, currently, for sure, they are delivering services related to AI. So we are building our models on top of these services, with Gen AI also. So that's definitely something I think without the cloud, we couldn't be so fast in transforming the company.
And when I think about data, the first thing I think about is retail media, on monetizing this data. I know that Carrefour announced last year a partnership with Publicis to become this retail media giant. How is that going?
In fact, we are Unlimited, which is the name of the joint venture we announced with Publicis, will be starting its activities early January. So far we are preparing to start the operation, meaning we are building all the technology, backstage to be able to run the system. So it means deploying the Publicis toolkit in all our channels. Having some, building all the stuff to run the system, and Unlimited was I would say the scale up of an activity which we started internally some years ago under the brand of Carrefour Links. So Carrefour Links, there was already some part of retail media, but the partnership with Publicis was also for us a way to scale, wider, because Carrefour Links had an operating scope of the countries where we were operating, and with Publicis we will be able to deploy our retail media activities in many more countries.
And I know retail media was, I think there were two terms that we talked about a lot about this year in this industry, which was retail media and generative AI. And I know that Carrefour has been present in both, and I have this feeling that Carrefour has a huge innovative culture. Yeah. What are other things that you're working on?
I think regarding innovation, our point of view about innovation is we want to be able to analyze every innovation. That doesn't mean that we want to work on it, but each new topic, each new innovative topic, we want to, scan it, see, is there an interest for us, have a point of view, and when we decide, it's interesting, then we can experiment, deploy things, and the purpose is to say, the first topics we want to deploy them very fast in weeks, and then if it works, we can make it more industrial. Regarding generative AI, we've been working on that, I would say, from the early stages. We've done already several use cases. So for instance, in France, we have deployed a chatbot called Hopla.
So what is Hopla?
So Hopla is a chatbot, probably the first topic we worked on with generative AI. So it's a chatbot we've deployed on Carrefour.fr website. And the idea of Hopla is to help the customer make his shopping. So with Hopla, you can ask him and ask him some questions, say, hey, I'm inviting 4 friends tomorrow. Can you suggest me some recipes? So Hopla is able to say, hey, I can provide you this.
So you're gonna have Paula that is vegetarian for dinner.
Exactly.
What can you cook for her?
Exactly. And then Oprah will say, okay, for Paula, you can do this, prepare this, okay. So second option is okay for me, okay. Can you put all the ingredients in the basket? So it's a way to ease the shopping for the customer. So this is the first example. We had some also on generative AI can be helpful in some tricky topics. For instance, we did some experiments about product information. For instance, in all websites, you need to have what we call the PDP, so the product display page with enough content. Okay, if you have a product display page,
description,
exactly. If you have only a title, you don't. The conversion rate is not so good. So what we did was, okay, we have some products with a package. We take some photos of it because there is some text. Okay, photo. We extract the text with OCR, and then we put the text into ChatGPT, and we're asking, okay, this is a bulk text. Make me some nice title, description, etc., so I can put it in the website. So that's another, I would say, quite smart idea. We did also some internal use cases. So we did what we call Marketing Studio, which is an internal tool also using generative AI to help marketing people build their brief to communication agencies. So it's another use case. And the most recent one was about HR, where we deployed a chatbot for people when they have questions about, I don't know, HR topics, where we connected I would say it's a more advanced chatbot than what we usually have. For instance, say, okay, this is a static knowledge base, please digest it, and then you will be able to answer questions. Here it's connected to systems where you can have dynamic answers, saying, okay, how many holidays left do I have, or such things. So
are you already seeing results in terms of time saved, employee time saved, or on this recent one, I think this one is too early. I think we announced it, we launched it internally 3 weeks ago, so probably a bit early. But I think that's the purpose, to make it more easier for the employees, and also help HR teams to focus on more, I would say, value-added activities. And being innovative and trying all these things, it requires a lot of third-party tech. How do you do to manage the cost of having third parties and in-house tech?
We have, I think we are mixing make and buy. For what I call commodity tech, so there are some systems for which it doesn't make any sense to build it by our own. You can say, for instance, I don't know, financial systems. We won't code our financial system. About product data repositories, these systems are complex, and I would say they don't bring any competitive advantage. So first reason is it a commodity software, or is it something for which we can have a difference on our competitors? So this is one lever, one axis where we say, okay, we build it by our own or we buy it. For some domains, we are partnering with companies to have the same solution in all countries, to say, okay, this feature is not same as I was saying. We don't want to build it because time to market won't be good. We won't be so different than the competitors. So we buy it, we have something very fast and relevant.
And another thing that I noticed on the digital plan that you have for 2026 is acceleration of e-commerce. What are the things you're trying? I know that you have marketplaces in some markets. What are the other things that you're using to grow?
I think on e-commerce, we already re-platformed almost all our websites. I think now the acceleration is more on the mobile apps. It's also a topic of efficiency, so about how we prepare, because if you have a good website and then the order execution is not good, at the end you will lose your customer, okay? So the idea is, first we wanted to have some first-class platforms for customer-facing shopping, and then we are working also on how to improve the order execution. For instance, we are building internal system about order picking in store. So we built one in Italy, which we enhanced and are currently deploying in France. This same tool is currently being deployed in Brazil within Atacadão stores. So that's the idea. I would say basically how securing order preparation and order delivery, and that's the key point. And of course, having a great product, great prices. So, but that's also other topics which are valid for also offline.
Have you also tried some things that other companies are trying, like live commerce, live streaming, and?
So we did some, we did some live shopping session last year in France. We did a lot. From what I saw, I think it was more a way to be different from the other one, but it was, I don't think it was a big success in terms of volume of sales. Probably France is not so mature as other markets are. The point which is interesting is related to Brazil. We started having conversational commerce. Atacadão started this activity 3 months ago.
So Atacadão is a wholesaler.
So Atacadão is a very big brand in Brazil, operating for mainly B2B but also B2C. And so they started e-commerce 2 years and a half ago, and now they are extending with a website. And now they are extending their selling channel with WhatsApp. So because their customers are professional enterprise such as restaurants, etc. So it's way easier for them to have WhatsApp and say, hey, I want to order this and that. And so it started 3 months ago, and it's already a success. We plan. I think it's deployed in around I think it's 50 customers, and we plan to make it generally available next year.
You seem to be a very multitask professional. You have to have your eyes in many countries, in many areas, internal, external, supply chain, store, so much. What do you think are the most important skills for a CTO in retail nowadays?
I'd say first you need to understand tech, because if you don't understand tech and keep up to date, and it's not about, I would say, being the master of everything, but more to understand, to be able to say, okay, for this tech, this could be relevant as a retailer for this use case. For instance, you say, okay, event-driven architecture. Instead of sending files from a system to another, having a pipe where you can send some small events. Okay, what could be interesting in this for a retailer? For instance, price updates, okay, or stock updates. You have an e-commerce website, you're selling things, the order preparation is done in the store, you have to be updated. Okay, someone in the store bought all the, all the rice or tomato sauce. So you need the website to be notified, okay, this is not more available. So having this capacity to say, okay, this technology is useful for this purpose is important. And I think it makes the link of first understanding the tech, second understanding the business. If you don't understand the business and because we are using tech for business, so you need to understand, okay, how do we build assortment? What's important in the supply chain? What are the key activities? What can be missed, etc. So that's something, if you don't have this understanding, you're only an expert.
And what was the biggest accomplishment of your career?
That's a tricky question. I would cite 2. First one was building Carrefour FR some years ago, because we had 3 websites. We had I think we had 6 months to rebuild everything. It was a huge challenge, and also we had to technically transform it And so we managed to do it. So it was intensive work, but we were very proud of it. And at group level, since I joined the group teams, I think what I'm the most proud is having been able to build this community of countries which were working totally autonomously some years ago, and which are now part of this community, and we have built a team with trust and with the same goals, and we are all moving forward. So that's something which I'm very proud of.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Did you have the opposite? Did you have a moment that you failed, or it was so challenging that you almost thought about giving up?
Yeah. And I think this one was, I think at Carrefour, it was 6 years ago, before we were totally clear about how do we wanted to go for cloud. And at some point we were thinking, okay, we could have public cloud, but we will also build our own private cloud. And at that point, we are not saying we are a digital retail company. We were thinking we are a tech company. And no, we weren't. And so we decided to go for private cloud, and at the end, it didn't work. We had to stop it and to rethink about it. And then we finally have chosen to go for public cloud, which is a way better approach.
So you're happy that you were able to see that and switch it, right? Before it was too late.
Yeah, we were. It was not so easy to say, hey, are you sure? We were thinking. I was also in the team who was convinced, okay, we have to do this, and then months after months, say, not sure. We have to tell the boss, we have to stop it. So that's life.
And I have a last question. I'm here at the headquarters, and I've seen a lot about the Olympics next year.
Yeah.
What are Carrefour plans for 2024?
Our plan for the Olympics, or more?
For everything, including the Olympics.
For the Olympics, our partnership is, I would say, centered about Carrefour will provide the food for all the athletes. So it's a big partnership, and beside of that, we have lots of activities. We have internal challenges, etc. So we have tons of things, and more widely, I would say our challenges, opportunities for next year. We have already plenty of things which are ongoing. For instance, move to cloud. We have to continue about our data strategy, which is in place for already 1 year. We have to continue to implement it. Honestly, I can't say this one and this one. I have a long list of
I never know when there's a new technology that is going to come from nowhere.
Yeah, and for instance, generative AI 1 year ago was not the topic. Okay, so we also have to be ready. We have our plans, and we have to be ready. Okay, this new technology is just happening. Is it useful for us? Yes, no. Okay, how do we use it? So, and that's also what makes my job interesting. I don't like things which are, okay, you're doing the same job every time. No, I can't do this way. So having something always changing.
You need always a challenge, a project to work on.
Exactly.
I'm the same way, actually. So I understand completely. Thank you so much for having me. Sure. I'm looking forward for next year. I do want to come to Paris for the Olympics.
Yeah.
And well, it was just like a great experience. You have a great team.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for hosting me in your house.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.
I confess I'm very excited for the Olympics. And when I was in their office, there was so many cute mascots around. It was very beautiful to see. And this is a big year in France, and retailers are preparing hard for it. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and as our industry prepares for NRF Big Show in New York next week, I would love to know what you're most excited about. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or send your suggestions to ideas@offbounds.tv. See you soon in the next episode, where I interviewed the Chief Digital Officer of Solo Brands, Jenna Posner.